Before we get into this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe or follow. It's been really a downfall, but I'm trying. But anyways, this is Kyle. It was dinner and it was Kyle's turn to cook dinner. He was making enchiladas with chile con queso. When dinner was served, Kyle's little sister, Ariaya, ate the whole plate up and left no crumbs. Kyle's father came from work and smelt the enchiladas. "What up, son? These enchiladas smelling good as hell. But what you finna be cooking tomorrow?" "Fried chicken," Kyle responded. Meanwhile, Kyle's stepmother, Margaret, came in and smelt the enchiladas and her mouth was ready to smash on the chilies on top. "Kyle, you be making my mouth all watery with this good food. Give the enchiladas to me and I'll sell it on eBay," Margaret screamed like some lifeless Karen. When she said sell it on eBay, she meant that she was gonna eat the rest of the enchiladas for herself and would leave the sauce stains and would make Ariaya clean the whole bowl until the next 45 minutes. Until she puts it in the freezer until the next dish is served. Margaret would sometimes be the one staring at Ariaya cleaning the bowl like some 4-year-old child until they get whatever they want. But she would literally scold Ariaya if she ever missed a spot. Wanna know why Margaret puts the bowl on the freezer? It's because the cabinets were filled with her jewelry and all these weird souvenirs instead of just putting them in their closet. But guess what? They also don't have closets either. There's a few things Margaret does around this house. 1. Since they didn't own a washer or dryer, Margaret and Kyle's father had to go to the kitchen sink and fill the 3 wooden buckets with cold water. They would go outside and put all of their clothes in the buckets and let them dry from the outside hangers for 25 minutes. 2. Margaret would use water to make a smoothie for herself or for Ariaya. And 3. Margaret would shower 3 times a day so she wouldn't have to run out of the water so she could pay the bills. All of these things Margaret does makes her a cheapskate. This is why Kyle's father, Kyle, and Ariaya avoided Margaret's act. Kyle and Ariaya's parents got into a divorce 8 years ago. Their biological mother moved abroad to another country. Kyle didn't want his father to get remarried but did anyways and was a total nightmare and cheapskate. Kyle was on the soccer team. His coach was too strict and would make anyone do 50 push-ups for being late. Kyle had played soccer when he was 5 and was addicted to it right away. Margaret would always say, "Kicking a ball won't help your future. You and Ariaya will be quitting your ridiculous sports and pageant careers right now." But thankfully, their father was on their side. When Kyle was at practice, the coach started to tell everyone the news. "The big game is coming up and obviously y'all need to do warm ups so we can beat the yapping parrots," the coach yelled. All the bitches on the team were exhausted from doing 35 push-ups, 40 burpees, and running 6 laps for 3 minutes, including Kyle. When the warm-ups were over, Kyle was ready to kick the ball like he was kicking the pain away Margaret treated him for years. Kyle was on streak mode and scored a goal. The other people were shocked and called him a soccer goddess. The jealous bitches literally called him a wannabe Messi behind his back. When someone told him this, Kyle wanted to fight but did something stupidly better. He was going to prank 3 of his jealous teammates when the game begins. Kyle was up until midnight to make his plan and went to sleep. In the morning, Kyle made pancakes for everyone except for Margaret and ran out the door. After school, Kyle ran to their lockers and found their jerseys. Kyle started burning the jerseys, but to be honest, it really wasn't that deep just because. But at least he replaced the jerseys to the yapping parrots jerseys. He bought them, by the way. The next step is that he was going to erase the benches that has their name on them, but the coach will recognize them. But when he sees the jerseys that they're wearing, he will immediately kick them out. The last step was to inflate their own personal soccer ball. Everyone has their own soccer ball during practice, but they won't know more. The big game was coming up. Kyle made nacho cheese for the nachos and everyone will love it while watching the game. Ariaya had to skip her pageant class just to watch Kyle, but was upset at the same time because her game was also today. Kyle didn't know that, but right during the middle of the game, Margaret came to the game with carton of eggs. Before all of that happened, the 3 jealous teammates were sent to the yapping parrots' side. They argued with the coaches and the 2 coaches yelled 10 times better and banned them from the game. They were so upset, but everything was according to plan. But during the game, the yapping parrots scored 16 points while the rizzing foxes, which was Kyle's team, scored 12 points. Were the 3 jealous bitches were that good? Kyle thought. Meanwhile, something unexpectedly happened. Margaret was throwing eggs and was actually trying to aim for Kyle, but it kept hitting on someone else. The victim name was Jackie and he was trying to call for the coaches because Jackie was allergic to eggs. The coaches didn't spot him but were focused on the game. Nobody noticed and Margaret was throwing dozens of eggs, thinking that was Kyle telling "What did I tell you about playing soccer?" She kept throwing eggs at Jackie until the end of the game. Security kicked Margaret out after that stunt she did. The rizzing foxes scored 54 points while the yapping parrots scored 52. The team won thanks to Kyle, but Jackie was covered in eggs and started screaming like he was reborn and passed out. The coaches called 911-1 and everything became a nightmare all over again. Kyle ran home with his trophy crying in his room thinking it was his fault. Meanwhile, Ariai also was crying in the shower because it seems like after Margaret got kicked out, she drove straight to Ariai's school and actually succeeded into throwing eggs at her, and she was covered in eggs too. Margaret left in the middle of the night. All of the cops chased her the remaining night. When she ran out of gas, the cops arrested her for assault and battery for throwing eggs at the individuals, as well as for disorderly conduct for causing a disturbance at the game. The bitch was also charged with harassment or endangerment for targeting individuals who are allergic to eggs and was sentenced to prison. When their father came home, they both started hugging him. "I just divorced the backstabbing bitch. Pack your bags because we're moving to a safer place than this apartment," their father said. "Should we go to the hospital and visit Jackie?" Kyle asked. "Pretty please," Ariai begged. "Yes we can," he replied. Everyone arrived and Jackie was surprised that Kyle was here and said, "Sta deal? You came here to make fun of me or to give something to me?" "Nah bruh, have this. I got 30 trophies in my room and you can have one of mines. She ain't my stepmama no more so we is safe," Kyle said. Jackie was surprised and hugged Kyle. Jackie was released from the hospital days later and Kyle continued to play soccer after his ass was depressed. Ariai won 2 prizes from her pageant club and now, the moral of the story is, know them before you trust them.